Knicks family, what's poppin' with you? It's your boy. Well, last night, ladies and gentlemen, was not a good game for the New York Knicks. It was a rough one. The worst defensive performance of the season by far, ladies and gentlemen. By far. That was the worst defensive performance of the season. And it's up to Tom Thibodeau to develop a scheme to get it back. It's got to make some adjustments. So what we're going to look at today, we're going to talk about some adjustments that the Knicks could make. But overall, I want to know, has the Knicks defense been exposed for everybody in the league to figure out? Because there's some key areas that I think the Knicks really struggle when it comes to playing defense in the NBA, ladies and gentlemen. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, grab your lunch, whatever it is you got to do. We're going to get you through the next hour and a half while you're at work. You know, during this low moment in the day. And we're going to talk some New York Knicks basketball. We'll also look at some key NBA dates. Talk about, you know, what the Knicks might do during these key dates. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, get that NBK app on Wix. I'll make sure that the link is in the YouTube chat, pinned to the top, so you can get that app. As soon as we get to 1,000 followers, we're going to have an Obi Toppin rookie card giveaway. So make sure that you check us out there. So let's talk about some adjustments that I think the Knicks need to make versus the Chicago Bulls, ladies and gentlemen, because there were a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes last night versus the Chicago Bulls, and most of them were on the defensive end. And when I show you these clips a little bit later on, we're going to have to take a look at communication. And I think that's the main thing, one of the main things that Tom Thibodeau is going to have to address with the team during this morning's shoot-around or this afternoon or whenever they're going to talk. They've got to address the way that they communicate, especially in that high screening role, the screen and roll, the pick and pop. He's got to address those issues because they really struggle in figuring out if they're going to switch, if they are going to have the big man hedge, and if he hedges, who's going to pick up the guy that pops until the big man can get back? It's an issue that the Knicks have been dealing with all season long, and I recognized it from the beginning of preseason. The very first play in preseason versus the Detroit Pistons, there was a pick and pop with Blake Griffin. Julius Randle was late to get out. I'm not sure if Blake Griffin hit the shot, but I knew at that point this was going to be a problem, and it has bedeviled, I'm going to use the Walt Clyde Frazier word, it has bedeviled the Knicks ever since. Tom Thibodeau's got to figure out what he's going to do. If he's not going to play his zone, then they've really got to hammer home those defensive rotations in that scenario. The rotations, who's going to be the person making the call on whether or not they switch, or if they're going to, if they're going to switch, or if they're going to hedge and have somebody else rotate. This is an issue that they've really got to deal with, and they're struggling with it mightily. That is a huge adjustment that they've got to make. Another adjustment, and I'll show it to you when we get into those clips. Another adjustment that they've got to make is their defensive positioning when it comes to these backdoor cuts. Because I'm going to tell you, last night, every single one of our Achilles heels, whatever, however you want to say it, got exposed, severely exposed, from not being able to rotate out the three-point shooters to not covering the back door to being weak late in rotations when there was good ball movement and man movement. We got exposed in all aspects. When you get exposed that way, and we've seen it throughout the season so far. We've seen little pieces here and there. One day we get exposed because the team's going backdoor, and we're getting killed backdoor, right? And it really isn't. It's bad defense because the guys aren't positioned well. But it's not something that it can be fixed just by understanding how to position yourself on defense, how to flatten out so you can see the ball and the man. We've seen that happen a game here, a game there. We have continuously seen the pick and pop, right? That's been a staple on the way to defeat the Knicks. And then we continuously and frequently see the Knicks overcommit. Right? Now, there's been games where they haven't overcommitted too much, or teams just didn't expose it. There's been games where they pick and pop, where guys were missing a three-point shot, so it didn't seem so evident. Then there's been games when, guys were hitting the pick and pop, or guys were they were taking advantage of the team committing. Then, of course, like I said, the backdoor cut. Last night, I feel, was the first time that we've really seen all three of those things come together and really destroy the Knicks defensively. They all came together and it really destroyed the Knicks. And it looked bad. And what makes it crazy, though, is that even with the Knicks being destroyed, in my opinion, they were picked apart and destroyed, and their defense looked awful. They still had a chance to win the game. They were still right there, ready to win the game, because Chicago's defense isn't good either. They were still right there. They couldn't pull it out. They made a lot of bad plays down the stretch, turning the ball over. Julius Randle turned the ball over a bunch of times. Bad plays. Then Zach LaVine, started hitting shots and scored 10 points in the fourth quarter. And we still, with all of the bad rotations we made, giving up the backdoor cuts, giving up open three-point shots, we still held them 10 points below their season's average. Because in the second half, we did play better defense. They defended that pick and pop better, right? Instead of having Julius Randle help, or whoever is defending the shooter help, they either switched, or, you started to see in the fourth quarter that Julius Randle just stuck with Lloyd Markkanen wherever he was going. Maybe they make that type of adjustment going into tomorrow's game versus the Bulls. We got Guillermo here. We got Cornerstone Kevin in the building. We're going to go ahead and, talk about it a little bit, break it down. I want to hear what Guillermo thinks about the defense last night. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, get that NBK app on Wix. As soon as I get these guys over here, I'm going to get it in the YouTube chat. All right? And in a few minutes, we're going to break down some film. So let's get these guys here. Guillermo, Cornerstone, what's popping with you, man? How y'all feeling this morning?
Hey, what's up, Sam? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling okay, man. I'm all right.
How you doing, Guillermo?
Top of the morning to you, or afternoon, wherever you may be.
Yeah, afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm just, how you doing, Sam? I don't want to be a bear
good,
bad.
Man. I'm good. So talk to me about some adjustments. What we like to do is, kind of look at the game with a clearer head in the morning after, the emotions of the game last night. People are going to come in and spout off, look at the game with a clearer head and talk about some adjustments we can make. And this is really, really, really good because now you're going to play the Chicago Bulls tomorrow, still at the United Center. Bad audio and all. And they've got to make some adjustments to figure out how to pull this game out. Because if they're seriously thinking about making that 10th seed, being in that play-in tournament, this is a game that they got to win because this will knock them out of it that being in that top 10, right? Losing to the Bulls last night knocked them down to being 10th, and they're below the Chicago Bulls. They win this game, they can get back on top of the Chicago Bulls because they'll have more wins. But losing this game will take them 5 games below 500. You got Toronto's climbing up the charts or up the standings. And you start to get, you start to fade. So this one is important, because then they come home and they play Portland. Then they got 2 against Miami. So this is one I think they really need to get. Talk to me about some adjustments that they can make.
Okay, you go.
What?
No, mine's is going to be simple. I say pay attention. We got to pay attention to Markkanen. He got too many open. Well, a lot of them got too many open threes, but him the most. He got 31 against us, and I don't know what his average is, but I know it's lower than 31 points. So we definitely between Randall and whoever, they've got to really he's got to be on their mind. He's got to make sure that he's covered at all times, and they can't sag off as much, like you said, Sim, yesterday. They can't keep sagging off these shooters and expect to recover in time. So that's one aspect. That's all I got right now.
Well,
okay.
One adjustment you can make is that first and foremost, please everybody hit the likes. There are 114 people who are watching, only 24 likes. Hit them likes. So since I think actually on the play where Elfrid Payne allowed a guy to go backdoor, I believe that was zone, or maybe it was just such bad man it looked like zone. But
it wasn't zone. I have it broken down. They were playing man. They just you'll see they get caught on looking with their back to the man.
It's just that bad of a man. It looks so. Yeah. One thing they can do, and Taj Gibson has said this. Switch. He said that and this is a while ago. I'm not sure if it's on the Knicks when he said this. Maybe not on the Knicks. But I think they're just talking about Tom Thibodeau's defense. And one thing they said was that they switched a lot. People try to say, oh, Tom Thibodeau, they switched. So I don't know what it is right now. I don't know if he's trying to say, hey, this ice pick and roll defense, hold your man. We're going to protect the paint. But then even that's not helping out. Literally the first play of the game where they got the alley-oop to Gifford, whatever his name is, it was off the pick and roll. And because they're trying to help out the ball handler, both those guys got stuck. And no one got on Gafford. Easy alley-oop. And you saw that was the name of the game, pick and roll, pick and pop, have Markkanen come around the screen. And mind you, Markkanen missed a few shots that were wide open, this game could have been a little bit blown out if he, and obviously he'd have to have a great game, but he was getting easy looks all night. So the thing I would say right now is to switch and gamble. Let them try to beat you in the paint. They don't have Wendell Carter. I mean, they have Gafford, who's beasting down low, but beasting a way of more of an energy, grab the rebounds versus he actually has solid moves down low that are going to kill you. I would just sell out. And another thing, just on offense, again, the Bulls are one of the worst teams against the pick and roll offense. They allow a point, 1.05 points per possession. Too many times yesterday, I saw Randall holding the ball way too long, 4 or 5 seconds go off the clock. Push the tempo against his team with the pick and roll. Get them in trouble. The best times with Randall was when he was driving against Markkanen, and Markkanen wanted nothing to do with Randall. You know what I'm saying? So again, I would be uber aggressive on Markkanen, get the pick and rolls popping, especially quickly. I mean, and you saw it yesterday, and he would trap the guy on his hip and then go for the floater. I'll say one thing to quickly get a little bit more close into the paint. If you don't have the floater angle, now teams just starting to adjust you. Make sure to try to look out for the perimeter play. And he had 7 assists yesterday, so I'm not killing him, but he did take a few bad floaters like, you know what I'm saying? And with the threes too, man, I know that sometimes you may be feeling yourself. Try to get a little bit closer. You know what I mean? Yesterday wasn't one of those type of games. Even in the Clippers game, we took that deep 3 against Kawhi. It just wasn't smart. So, and I'm not killing him, but, push the tempo with the pick and roll. Randall stop holding on to a little bit too long. You allow the defense to reset a little bit. I would love for Randall to start from the top of the key and drive it on Markkanen. Markkanen could not do anything with that. And on the defensive switch, because unless they play zone or smarter play zone, it's just
I think that they should take Randall for at least this game, take him out the post completely, and just keep him on the perimeter because he can take Markkanen all day. And what they're doing every time Randall gets the ball in the post, he's holding the ball long, like you said. And it's not necessarily that he's holding it long to shoot. He's holding it, and you can see him looking and see, okay, where can I pass the ball to? But that it's got to be faster. He's got to make a faster decision. And every time he's holding the ball, there's a guy sneaking along the baseline, ready to double team as soon as he spins back towards the baseline or tries to make a move going towards the paint. That guy then comes around and double teams. I would just try to get Randall in the area near the foul line and let him go one-on-one with Markkanen. Not the whole game, obviously, but when he's going to have his number called, let him go one-on-one with Markkanen instead of taking him into the post. You know what I'm saying? Because every time he went one-on-one with Markkanen when he was out in space instead of being in the post, he dribble past him and go to the basket. You know what I'm saying? And it's quicker moves that way. Instead of having him, sit there and pound it in the post and hold the ball in the post.
Let me ask both of y'all a question, just real quick. How do you position yourself to not get beat backdoor?
You pay attention to your player. You use the baseline. This is what I'm saying. Sim, let me know if I'm wrong. In the NBA, it seems like it's counterintuitive in regards to how players use the baseline for the most part. The baseline is your friend. That means that unless you're going to try to run past me on the baseline, I'm closer. My stance is going to be more open where you have to go on my inside versus the baseline, right? How in the hell does this happen? I don't know. I don't know if it's just me. I just know old school, baseline is your friend. I heard from Will Clyde, baseline is your friend. Use the baseline. They can't go out of bounds and then come back. Literally close them off. So if they're running right in front of you. And you have your peripheral to tell you, hey, they're running right in front of me. I can close out on them.
And it's just, I'm going to show you.
Sim, correct me if I'm wrong, but
I'm going to show you someone who does it perfectly, right? Kawhi Leonard, you can watch him. He does it perfectly. I got to find the clip, right? But you flatten yourself out. When I show you these clips, the Knicks, they have their back to the basketball. When you have your back to the basketball, you're not going to be able to see where the man is going. And a few times, not both times, the Knicks got beat back door a bunch of times, right? But when they got beat back door these times, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the defensive scheme or what, but there was one guy there in the middle trying to plank the middle with two defenders because somebody went to double team or somebody went to guard a penetrator, right? So I don't know if this is the actual scheme or if, this is just the way that it happened. The fact that it happened twice kind of makes me feel like maybe this is the scheme of the team, right? But what you have to do is you got to flatten out defensively. And when I say flatten out, that means you got to be able to, you don't stand with your back to your man. So if you have a man over here in the corner, you don't stand with your back to him. You flatten out so that you can see, and I'm trying to find a clip, so that you can see your man and you can see the basketball. And you don't stand in front of the guy. You stand where that guy is in front of you. You keep that person in front of you, even if it's just a couple inches in front of you. You keep him in front of you. That way you can see wherever he's going to move. All right. Any place that he's going to move, you can see him. All right. And if you are a little bit ahead of him, you got to be in a position where you can see him and you can see the basketball. Right?
See him in the basketball.
Like,
if the ball's at the top of the key, and your man's off to the side, you want to be able to position yourself. You mean flat. You mean you want to be facing the guy with the ball and also have your man off the corner of your eyes. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you're positioning, when you're flat, you're facing the other court. You're facing the opposite court. And you can see one hand, and you can point, right? You can point to your man. You can point to the basketball. And then this allows you to be able to see if your man is going to cut, where they're going to cut. And then you can get up and you can hedge them from cutting. If they're going to try to cut back door, you can get there. If they're going to try to cut in front of you, you can deny the basketball. You know what I'm saying? The Knicks they do not do it at all. As a matter of fact, since we're talking about it, I might as well bring up a backdoor cut. All right, so let's bring this one up here. Okay, and let me get the screen up so that you can see what I'm talking about, Kev. All right, when I'm talking about this backdoor cut. All right, you guys can see the screen, right? Okay.
Yeah, barely, but I can see it. I can
All
see
right.
it.
So if you look on the screen right now,
Yeah.
you can see there's a man over here in the corner. Right? Whoever this is, I think that's R.J. Barrett. He has his back to this man.
Okay.
Elfrid Payton is right here. His man is right here. He has his back to the man. He can't see him. This man can go to the opposite end of the court and Elfrid Payton won't see him. Right? And they're both looking at the basketball. This leaves you very, very vulnerable to the backdoor cut.
Yeah.
Right? Leaves you vulnerable to the backdoor cut because you can't see what they're doing. And so now this is what I was talking about earlier, Guillermo, when I said, I don't know if it's scheme or what. But one thing you'll notice is, boom, there's 1, 2, 3 guys here around the ball. Okay, Julius Randle's here. Giving away that marketing and shooting, I wouldn't even have him here. I'd let these guys deal with it, to be honest with you, because I don't want to leave this guy alone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But, this is what I feel like they've been trained to do is to really defend his paint and is beginning to kill him. So I'm letting it go just a little bit.
And look at what help, what help is Payton? Well, Randall is in a terrible spot, like you said. But
he is.
Is Payton? What Payton would actually, if RJ's the one that's, I guess, in the scheme supposed to be helping out, right? Why would Payton have his back turned that way when literally if he opened up his stance, even with what's saying behind him, given the fact that someone's driving to the basket, RJ's man, hold on, let me click on it. RJ's man in the corner, is that Patrick Williams? If Payton is open up, he has Kobe White in front of him, Patrick Williams behind him, who could cut, but at least Payton would be a little bit closer. Payton is in no man's land, Randall's in no man's land, and I'm not sure, like you said, the scheme where is like sell out on the interior defense by all means, but it's like, well, if you're playing a team that has really good shooters, it just doesn't make. Why would you? It's like the antithesis.
The thing is, right? I feel like this is. I don't know if this is their scheme. I feel like this is what they're being told to do. I mean, Payton. I mean, even if you're being told to do it, can be in better position. He should be about right here, right? He should be there, especially if you know. Especially if you know it's a scheme. He should be about right here, opened up, and RJ should still be flattened out. Not at this point. He's going to he's going to help out now. But earlier he should have been flattened out so he can see what his guy was doing. Neither one of them were flattened out. So RJ goes and helps. And now it's Payton's job to get here, to be in between these two guys, right? But flattened out so he can see where the cutter is. Right? But he's not. Yeah. He's here. Either one of these guys can go behind him. And then you get the easy backdoor cut. You can't even see him coming. And you get the foul on Mitchell Robinson that quick and that easy simply because you didn't cover that back door. You didn't cover the back door. You know what I'm saying? And it's really that simple. It's really that simple. Just flattening out. Right? So that you can defend that. You know, that back door has been a problem all season long. I am going to, when we really get into the breakdown, I'll go over it again. I got another clip where I show it and go over it again. But that's been a problem all season long. You're going to see on the other side, it happens the same way with another player off of a lot of ball movement, the same exact thing. One guy caught on two guys and someone cuts back door, right? And we get smacked with those backdoor cuts. But I really think it is a simple, very simple fix. Where you position your feet, where you position yourself so that you can see the ball and you can see your man at the same time.
Like Clyde always say, right, Unc? See the ball, see your man. See the ball, see your man.
See the ball, see your man. You know what I'm saying? Basic defense.
Even with that, they did a simple switch. Even if they did a simple switch there, because look where Mitch and I can't, who's that? Bullock. They both kind of like have their hands out, and the roll man is free to roam. Like these two guys are stuck on that one ball handler off the pick, and they're in no man's land. Like they're not guarding anybody. Levine can make the easy pass or a doable pass, and that's how a lot of the disequilibrium comes from. Where like if they just switch, and again, we're not playing We're not playing Drummond. We're not playing Sabonis. We're not playing even Giannis. Where if you switched onto who's that, Gafford who caught the ball, and then Gafford was the one who ran bases. Whoever caught the ball up top, like that guy's not. He's not going to drive to the basket and kill you and dunk on you and overpower you, even if you're freaking quickly. Well, I mean, I say quickly, but in that lineup, right? We have Bullock, and it's like just switch, and just keep it, and then they'll probably have if everybody's on their man, and someone else have to come and help, and then you have this pocket here of an open pass and this pocket here. If you just switch and then everybody resets onto a man or gets onto a man, I think it would have been a lot easier game because you have that backdoor cut, you had a bunch of pass out to the perimeter, you had a bunch of pick and pop. It's like it just doesn't make sense why we run this ice pick and roll defense when we're not playing Shaq every night. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, Tom Thibodeau said from the beginning of the season, because he was asked early in the season, because, some guys hit some open or had some open looks from three. And he was asked by whoever, one of the reporters early in the season, is it your scheme to defend the paint at all costs? And he said, yeah, we don't want anybody getting into the paint. But this strategy is opening up the three-point line because guys on this team, and I'm about to go over how I believe this Knicks defense has really been exposed, right? And I'm going to start with guys committing. That's where I'm going to start because this team severely overcommits, right? So that is one of the first things that I think has to do with this team, this defense being exposed, because I really do think it's been exposed, and we're going to see if they can make the right adjustments to stop teams from taking advantage of some of the weaknesses that they have, right? You know what? I'll just go ahead and start with the high pocket pick and pop, right? Because that pick and pop rotation, they struggle with it mightily. And they get killed on it every single game. Sometimes the three ball is going down, sometimes it's not. But since the beginning of the season, they've been killed in the high pick and pop rotation. And sometimes it's a double screen. Sometimes it's just one screen. The clip that I'm going to show you here is actually a double screen, right? That leads to a high pick and pop from, guess who? Lauri Markkanen. All right, so let's take a look. I'm going to let this thing ride, and let's take a look at it, and then we'll talk about it. All right, so you can see here, and this is a common set. The Knicks use the same set, so they should be used to it, right? You see here, you got two guys here, and they're going to come and set a double screen, right? The last screen, the first screen is whoever this is. I'm not sure who that is here. He sets the screen. Right, Lauri Markkanen goes to set the screen. I think he's going to slip it just a little bit, and when he slips it, he pops out. The Knicks kind of do the same thing with Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson, so they should be used to it and know exactly what's going to happen. All right, now, Kev, just so that you understand what I'm talking about, you see here, whoever that is, maybe that's R.J. Barrett, right? This is a little bit better defensive position. Right, he's a little bit close to the baseline, so whoever this is can't really go baseline on him, because if he does, he's going to be running out of bounds or under the basket. All right, so that's better position, and he's more flattened out. He's facing this way, so he can see him and he can see the basketball. Right, so that's good position. You can see here, he can see him here, right, and he can also spy the basketball here. All right, so that's good. Yep. That's good position. All right, so let's go ahead and let's let this go just a little bit. All right, you'll see, boom, one screen, two screens, but Markkanen barely set the screen, right? And he's not supposed to set the screen there. It's not that it's a bad screen. He's not supposed to set the screen. He's just slipping it. And the fact that he's slipping it, now the first screen, makes whoever that is quickly, have to fight a little bit over the screen. Because there's a screen there and he has to step around and he's a step behind. Who's that? Kobe White, right? Another screen coming. Now, I'm going to stop it right here, and this is where we get into trouble. Julius Randle's helping out here. But look who's also here. Reggie Bullock is here, right? So now we got 1, 2, 3 guys spying on Kobe White, and Lauri Markkanen is going to fade. all the way over here, and Julius Randle has to make it from here to here. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to take anything away from what Julius Randle has to do, but you're not going to expect your 6'8" power forward who already, is not your fastest guy on the team. He's fast, but he's not going to get there in time. The ball is going to move way faster than he can move, right? And we get caught on this every single time with Randle helping out, Noel helping out, Mitch helping out, right? Now, the thing, too, is this is also Randle's call, in my opinion. I don't know if Tom Thibodeau has it set up this way. But Randle has to be able to, he's given a little bit of space, which is good. He has to be able to see to say, to quickly, I'm going to switch. I got Kobe White. I got yours. You switch. Or I got mine. You stay with your man. He has to be able to make that call. And this is why I say that communication is bad. He's got to be able to make that call. You know what I mean? To say what's going to happen. And I don't think those calls are being made. And then you're going to see, bam, stop it here. Lauri Markkanen wide open here. And Randle is turning to get here. But he's not going to make it. There's no way he's going to make it. And when he makes that pass, Lauri Markkanen is going to step even farther this way, right, to make it even tougher for Julius Randle to get there. Boom. And he kind of gets there, but still, that's a tough rotation for him to make. Now, I think, and I'm going to bring it back, right?
Okay.
I think what should happen, and let me bring it forward just a little bit, try to get it there. Hey. All right, let's stop it right here. Now, you got to be able to help the helper. If you're going to do this, you got to have good rotations. And this is why I think maybe you should just switch, especially a guy like Lauri Markkanen is not going to go in the post a whole lot. Maybe you can switch, do something a little bit different, because what you should have is Noel rotate out to him, to Markkanen, Julius Randle then cover Noel's guy on a quick rotation. As soon as that ball is let go, Noel's got to beat around this screen, get here, Randle get there. Now you got it covered. You know what I'm saying? Instead of Julius Randle have to make it all the way over here. And that's the shortest rotation that you're going to be able to get in that scenario. Right? Boom. But instead, Noel stays at the screen, and again, he knocks it down. Right? That right there, every single play is going to expose. It's going to expose either Randle or Noel or Mitchell Robinson every single time. Now, they did better in the second half because they started to switch. Right? They switched with Reggie Bullock. Now, the first play of the second half, they were supposed to switch, and they didn't switch. Right? And Lauri Markkanen got a wide open three. The first play of the second half, Lauri Markkanen got a wide open three. Reggie Bullock was supposed to switch onto Lauri Markkanen. He didn't switch. The next time they tried to do it, he switched on to Lauri Markkanen. But they've got to figure out how they're going to defend that play, because it's killing us every single game. Every single game, that play is killing us. Go ahead, Prince.
All right, wait. Sorry, Prince, and sorry, Guillermo and Unc. What defensive set we was running there at that sequence that you just played? That looked like a 3-2 zone?
Nah, they were just playing man-to-man defense.
No, that was man.
That was just man-to-man defense.
But that didn't look like man-to-man. It did not look like a man-to-man trap or...
No, it was bad defense.
It was horrible defense. But what I was going to say to that, Sim, and I don't know, Prince. Maybe you can give me better terminology, but I know when I coached with my buddy Mike, we had a terminology with the varsity where we would bump the switch, where Noel's would have bumped over to Markkanen. Julius was supposed to fall down and quickly would have stayed. Right. Now, again, I don't know what you guys would call that terminology, but more like a bump. That's what we called it, where we would say bump, bump, bump. So that would mean I would take the guy here where it's like OG just said, the fact of it looking like a zone. It almost is the mindset of a zone to say, I got mine here. There's no reason for us to guard two people, or for two of us to guard one person. Sorry about that.
Right.
For two of us to guard one person. So communication is key. And again, the simpleness of just, like you said, so I got him, go. You know what I'm saying? Just clearly being able to communicate by saying, I got him, somebody has to cover marketing, because at the that crucial time, he was a hot hand. And again, I would rather give up a wide open layup to was Thaddeus in the middle, or was that the center at that time? Whoever. I would rather give up that play than give up a wide open three to marketing. So if the slip to the basket is going to beat us, I would rather that beat us, and we either rotate and get a foul, make them earn them from the stripe. But again, yeah, it has to be better teaching, better communication, because again, it just didn't look good, looked lackadaisical.
Yeah, and like I said on that, Noel should have rotated out, and then Julius Randle go and grab Noel's man, and it would have been a shorter rotation for Noel to get out there than Julius Randle go from one side of the court to the other side of the court to try to get Markkanen, who was popping. Go ahead, Guillermo.
Yeah, so that played two bad things. So one, that's a Spain pick and roll, right? Where you have the initial screener, and then the shooter sets the pick. Markkanen sets the screen for the initial screener. So you saw, I think it was Otto Porter, he dropped down, but he was guarded, and then Markkanen pops out, right? That's the Spain pick and roll. And the sad thing is that the Knicks actually run it. We ran against the Warriors, we ran against the Kings. Kings ran on us as well too. So we should be familiar with the play, right? And obviously the three options from the Spain pick and roll. The ball handler could just take the ball, drive to the basket, hit the floater, layup, whatever it may be. He could throw it to the alley-oop guy down low, which would have been Otto Porter, but Otto Porter obviously didn't get down low enough. But go watch the Kings game, because Halliburton, Hield, and Rashawn Holmes ran on us, and it worked. Rashawn Holmes finished, and then Markkanen in this play, he's a shooter. The thing with this play is that you're basically just supposed to switch. There's a good little YouTube clip from, Twitter clip from B-Ball Breakdown that shows how the Cavs guarded it. And they guarded this against the Washington Wizards, where, there's still a slightly open shot from the corner, but like that was the least viable, or the least not the best play it wasn't the best look looking at the play. So in that Spain pick and roll, again, switch. Once you switch, okay, Markkanen's covered. Otto Porter's Otto Porter. He was already guarded, and whoever the ball handler was, they would have been guarded as well too. So it made absolutely no sense as to why, we're still playing an ice pick and roll defense when, again, this team has a bunch of shooters. Otto Porter's not Giannis, so it's not if you give him to him down low and the paint's going to kill you. And Tom Thibodeau runs this. He ran it against the Warriors. Well, he tried to with Obi quickly and Nerlens Noel. So he's familiar with this play. So I don't understand what I don't know if he's leading up to players to diagnose it and say, hey, I'm going to teach you this concept, but I'm not going to give you, lead you guys. I'm not going to give you the water. Figure out, try to learn this stuff, which is great for development, right? Hey, you've seen these looks. Okay, now I'm in the film study. What are you guys seeing? Oh, okay. Oh, that's the Spain pick and roll. Okay, let's defend again. Blah, blah. Maybe it's that. I just don't think Tom Thibodeau is like, he's looking at it, he's like, oh, I don't know what's happening. So
right. Of course he doesn't. It really comes down to communication. Them guys talking to each other on the court. If you listen to the post game last night, Tom Thibodeau, Julius Randle, and R.J. Barrett all talked about communication. So clearly that was something in the locker room that they talked about after the game. And I've seen the Knicks defend it successfully. And actually on this play here, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to set two high screens, and you'll see them defend it successfully. But then after a few passes, they're going to give up a backdoor cut. Right? So you see it here. And you can see the set already. Right? You can see it already set up for him. And let me go ahead and let this go. You see, well, let me get it here. You can see the two screens getting ready to come here. Kobe White getting ready to come off with two screens. All right. These guys are in better placement. And at this point, the Knicks had the lead in the game. And it's plays like this that destroy any momentum that you build up. All right, so let me go ahead and hit the play button. 1, 2, two screens. Boom. Comes off the screen. This time they defended it well. Right? Whoever this is, quickly, is still with Kobe White. Noel's kind of here in the middle. right? He's going to end up picking up here while Julius Randle is still on Lauri Markkanen, right? Everyone's defended. So what's he do? He gets it off to, I guess, whoever that wingman is. Kobe White gets it off there, comes back up top so they can reset. They find whoever that is. It's hard for me to see who these numbers are. In the middle here, finds him in the middle.
I think that's Thaddeus.
Right, that might be, yeah, I think that's Thaddeus.
In the middle, Thaddeus is.
Right. Then whoever that is, he sets a screen on the well. He's gonna curl around. Can't get the basketball. Comes and sets the screen. Bam. Now is where we get in trouble. So now you see here.
He slipped it. 2 man game.
Boom. Again. RJ Barrett's got 2 guys, one here and one here. Right? And this happens on these backdoor cuts every single time. RJ Barrett, he has his back turned here, has his back turned here. I think he knows this guy is coming because he's got his arm outreach. But if he's in a little bit different position, in my opinion, once you see this come here, right? Once you see this play here, you've got to position yourself so you defend this guy, because if the ball gets swung over here, you can rotate out here, right? You might have to bust your butt to get there, but you can rotate out there, and then you got to rely on your helpers to rotate with you. But now he's caught with 2 guys there, and there you go. Easy layup, right? And it continues to happen time and time again. Ball movement with a backdoor cut, right? And like, they defended the initial high screens well. They defended them well, but as it got to that 4th, 5th pass, they found a hole in the defense. Easy backdoor cut to a layup, right? And then we talk about overcommitting. That's another area where the Knicks, I think, are really exposed and get killed. They overcommit too much. You see Noel already here in the paint. Okay, the action is on this side of the floor. Noel is in the paint. I get it. Right? Tom Thibodeau wants to protect that paint. But you know who you got over here. There comes a time where you have to abandon, okay, our scheme is this initially, but we're going to abandon that for you, Noel, or whoever's out marketing, because this guy is knocking down shots. We're going to stay close to him. We're going to stay on his hip. We're not going to let him free. It comes a time when you got to abandon it, right? You see Noel already hovering around the paint, and what happens? Wide open.
Scary.
Right? And he did not have to be there because there's already Julius Randle here, and I think that's RJ Barrett right there. He didn't have to be back here. I know he was the last line of defense, but you got to recognize who you got open. And look at how much he's not covering that much ground. Lauri Markkanen he's about to shoot it. He's not even going to bring the ball down. He brings it to his hip, boom, and knocks it down. You know what I mean? You just got to be able to understand who's out there, who's on the floor with you, and when to make certain rotations. Another time, another quick overcommit, where they're going to overcommit.
And Sim, real quick, Tom Thibodeau talks about you got to be well-versed and, this and that, and you got to, know the opponents of your stats, and stats of your opponent, excuse me, and all that stuff, right? So we're guarding the paint so heavily, right? Especially off the pick and roll where everybody has to commit so-called to the big man or whatever, right? So the Bulls, they rank fairly poorly at 0.95 points per possession with the roll man at 62. They average or defended. Actually, yeah, they're scoring about 46% off that play. And yet, basically, I mean, they were able to open up the outside game and then feed into that. But we feed so much into anything that comes into the paint. And the Bulls aren't that good of a team when executing off those pick and rolls, where the roll man is a guy, getting the ball, whatnot. Even though we allowed it yesterday, but it's like we don't even, not say Tom Thibodeau's a hypocrite, but I'm just saying it's like we're not even coaching up to the so-called stats that are out there. So I don't know why. It might just be stubbornness at this point with Tom Thibodeau.
I think that's exactly the thing right now. Either it's just blind stubbornness, or he just truly has, okay, I got 25 games. I got it wrote down on the calendar. Game 25 would change stuff up. Because again, you got to take your hat off to Billy Donovan. He came out, and honestly, I mean, I hate to say it out loud, but he outcoached us because, again, that's good scheming. The way that wasn't, like I said, it wasn't for craps and giggles. They actually planned, and you can tell that they, they, especially that one that you just showed, Tim, when it broke down after that fourth pass and you had the two-man game in the corner, where it was, two-man game against one player. And then on the backside, where we got that, like where you just showed the backdoor cut and that open three-pointer is by design. If you look at all those sets, they made sure they set it up like that every time. If it was the two guys on the left side of the court and they did the pick and pop, pick and slip on the right side top of the court, or they did it vice versa. They always made sure every time they attacked us, they made sure that backside help only had one guy to guard two people. So I got to give our hats off to Billy Donovan and what he did to come out and.
But part of that is us and not communicating and not rotating the correct way. You know what I mean? And I don't want to say it's not the players either. Where Tom Thibodeau could be saying, "Hey, this guy is doing this in the third," and then the guys just aren't. It's not relating to the floor. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at that point in the game, Markkanen had already knocked down about 4 threes. Noel's in there. He should know, look, this guy's knocked down a couple of threes. I'm going to stay close to him. I'm staying on his hip. I'm not going to get myself in a position where he can get an open three on me. And you got to know your speed and whether or not you can, you can rotate back out there. In that play, there was no need for Noel to be in there because the penetration was already guarded by Randall and Barrett. Right? But here's another. Here's another. Let me get back to you, Kev. Let me just show this one last clip. Another display of overcommitting. Right? And you're going to see here, this time it's Julius Randle that overcommits. Right? Or commits too early or whatever it is that you want to say. All right. You can see the ball is here on this side. Starts here on this side. All right. Lauri Markkanen is over here. Julius Randle is right here. All right. Let's go ahead and let it roll. Boom. Bang. He gets the handoff. All right. And Julius Randle, you already got Mitchell Robinson here. Now Julius Randle is here. Right. And Lauri Markkanen is out here all by himself. Julius Randle is already committed to stopping this. When this guy is here that can stop it. This is where communication has to come in. We got 3 guys in the paint, clogging up the paint, stopping these guys from penetrating. Cool, but we're leaving a 3-point shooter who's been knocking down. Well, at this point, he hadn't been knocking down threes. Maybe this is his first 3 of the game or something like that. Wide open. Right? Boom. And then Randall can't get out to him. He knocks it down. Right? The overcommitting by this team kills us every single time. Not every single time down the floor, but it kills us a lot. And it leaves these wide open 3-point shots because we overcommit. So there, those things right there, defending that high pick and roll, the backdoor cuts, overcommitting. We've seen all 3 of those things come to light last night against the Chicago Bulls. And I think it was the first time that all 3 of them really worked together. And there were holes all over the place. And so when I say the Knicks defense is exposed, when teams start to look at this, especially if it happens again tomorrow, when teams start to look at it, they're going to say, this is all we got to do. Get some wide open 3-point shooters, put some actions in. They're going to look at this Bulls game, see what some things that the Bulls did to get these backdoor cuts, right? And put it all together. And it could, it could be trouble. We'll see if Tom Thibodeau can work with these guys on some adjustments. Again, like I said last night when we got off the stream, I would spend all day long looking at film, look at a play, hit the court. And work on it. Look at a play, hit the court, and work on it. I don't know if they got a gym available to them. There should be some gyms available. local colleges, community colleges, high schools, whatever. There should be some gyms available. Look at the film. Let's hit the court and let's do it. Look at the film. Let's hit the court and let's do it. You know what I mean? And they don't have to go through it hard. We know they got a game tomorrow, but they can walk through it so that they understand what they got to do. All of it is fixable. All of it is fixable, man. Communication, positioning yourself in the right spot on the floor so that people can't go backdoor on you. Even if you're stuck with two guys, you know, there's a way to position yourself so that they can't go backdoor. You know what I mean?
I wanted to say real quick, do you think, you know, I like you know, as a coach, you have nuances and little critiques and, you know, things that you want your players to do. And I'm wondering, do we see that this is one of those cases where it's a scheme thing, but, you know, the team, and I'm pretty sure Johnny Bryan and some of the other people may have came to Tibbs like, hey, man, there's no way you can have them do this and that at the same time. And he's like, oh, no, hell no, they can do it. You know, like, have you ever have one of your players, and I know, like, me coaching ball, I like some of my running backs were like, Coach, I can't do that step and still be on the same time as a quarterback to hand the ball off to me if you have me doing 2 steps back, you know, 1 step forward type of thing. But I'm like, no, that's a running back step. You got to do running back steps to catch up. But again, could this be one of those things where Tom Thibodeau may be overcoaching or emphasizing something that is, like you said, getting misconstrued to the players? Because again, or is this something that we've seen for the last three different coaches, some of the same players doing the same things? Because if we remember, even though Fizdale wasn't a great defensive coach, he still tried to emphasize defensive emphasis. A lot of this same stuff that we talking about, the pick and pops, we've been doing a lot of these dribble handoffs and things for the last 3-4 years. So again, It's not like these guys don't see these plays happening. So I was just thinking as I was hearing you and Guillermo talk, I'm just wondering, I'm like, dang, B, I know I've been in those situations where players came to me like, Coach, I think we should change this up because, again, I understand your philosophy, but there's no way I can do this and do what you want me to do at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, well, with Thibodeau, they did a lot of switching, right? They switched too much. They switched when they didn't have to switch. And we ended up getting a whole lot of mismatches all the time because they were constantly switching. And then we end up getting a lot of mismatches. I think with Thibodeau, I think what he's expecting the guys to do is have better communication. Now, in the second half, you do notice he ended up switching, which was the best thing to do. He ended up switching so that Markkanen couldn't get wide open, or whoever that stretch for couldn't get wide open, right? They ended up switching. Again, if you go back and you look at the game, and there's a New York Knicks and Chicago Bulls full highlights that the NBA put out. And if you look at the first game, the first play of the third quarter, right? They did a high screen and roll with Markkanen and Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine kicked it over to Markkanen. Right, Reggie Bullock was supposed to switch. Instead, he stayed with Zach LaVine. Randall's looking at him like, "Hey, you're supposed to switch," and then he hustles out over there. But Markkanen knocks down the 3. The next plays after that, they switch, and then that's the reason why Markkanen didn't score anymore. That was the last point that he made in the third quarter, I believe, and then he didn't score anymore.
But
for the rest of the second half, because they started switching on to him. Although he did get a couple of open shots, maybe 1 or 2 that he missed, but they started switching on him and made it more uncomfortable for him to get those shots off easy. And I think that's the key. They, going into the next game, they're gonna have to switch. Just switch it. Right now, if you're switching, if it's Emmanuel Quickly that switches onto him, that could be a problem because he's bigger and stronger, right? But if he tries to drive to the basket, he's gonna drive it to the teeth of the defense. You got guys there that's help him out, right? But we can't keep getting killed on these 3-point shots because if he's gonna shoot 50% from the 3-point line again, it's going to open up the middle. We're going to get smacked in the middle like we started to see late in the game last night. Yeah. Go ahead, Kev.
No, what I was going to say was what you just said. Wouldn't they have realized how how Marcusson was going to be, wouldn't they have realized that after like, the first, few minutes of the first quarter, even the beginning of the second, to be like, we have to make sure that we're on this guy so that he wouldn't have to go off the way he did.
The thing is, what a lot of people have to understand sometimes is we see the game very differently than the coaches. The coaches see the game very differently than the players, right? So when a coach is watching the game from where we are, they can see it the way we see it, right? The game looks slower when you're watching it on TV. When you're watching it up close and personal, that game is fast. The ball is pop, 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 pop. The game is very fast. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And so you see the game very, very different. And then of course you're in the heat of the moment, you're in the heat of battle. So everything is a little bit different when you're actually on the sideline coaching. You know what I mean? So it doesn't just seem that easy. That easy to just say, oh yeah, this guy is such and such, so we got to make sure we get out on him. Sometimes it takes going into halftime to really, for the head coach to say, give me your stats, right? You might not even know that Markkanen made 5 3-point baskets. You know what I'm saying? Because like sometimes you don't even see who the players are. You just know, damn, it's another open 3-point basket. And then you get in halftime, give me the stats. Let me see what you got. You got guys that's breaking down film for you, and then he's showing you, okay, they're doing this, that, and the third, this, that, and the third. You say, okay, we got to make some adjustments. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot harder to do it mid-action than when you got a 15-minute break to actually be able to sit down and look at a few things. It's very tough. It's very tough.
So what you're saying is they don't have like I know you really can't compare it because when the Prince mentioned about when he used to coach football and everything, how the NFL, they'll have that technology where they could say, where you have for a quarterback or for defense, where they're failing at.
Right. But the NFL is a little bit different. It's a little bit different because once your offense comes off the field, you might be off the field for a half an hour. You know what I'm saying? So you can sit down and look at film and start to break down, and your coaches can say, okay, well, let's do this. We got to do such and such and this and that. In the NBA, you got 5 guys on the court that's going for 5-10 minutes straight, and you get a minute, 2 minutes in your timeout to try to make an adjustment or do this or do that. Tom Thibodeau has to be up managing the game. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit harder because of the pace of the game. Like I said, in football, your defense comes off the field, and if your offense goes on a long drive, you might not be out there for a whole quarter. You know what I'm saying? So you have time to look and make those adjustments mid-game, like during a quarter. It's a little bit tougher for the NBA. Not that it can't be done, because coaches have made adjustments, obviously, but it's just a little bit tougher, to see the game that way. When you're actually coaching on the sideline, because so many things happening, so many things going on. That's why it's so important to have really good assistant coaches that can come to you and say, hey, let's try to do this, let's try to do that. And I'm not saying they don't have good assistant coaches, but that's the importance of having it, so you can have coaches really look at certain things on the floor.
But the head coach has the last word on it as well.
Yeah, of course, the last word. The coach has the last word. And sometimes you don't even know. My bad, girl, but you don't even know who's making the substitutions on a team. Sometimes head coaches have assistant coaches making the substitutions, and then the coach coaches who's out there, right? And I've watched games where one player comes in and the coach looks down the bench, is like, no, I don't want him in right now, and then send somebody else, the player that they took off, sends him back out there on the floor. Sometimes the head coach is not even making those substitutions, for adjustments and stuff like that. So it all, you don't know what their system is like and how they have it set up. Go ahead, Guillermo.
And we don't so this is why this season, why I focus more so on development, right? Because again, when you look at the starting lineup, we don't have naturally defensively inclined players. I'm talking about mentally, right? When you talk about Tom Thibodeau's teams, at least the Chicago Bulls, you could point to Jakim Noah. You could point to Jimmy Butler. Taj Gibson, obviously a younger Taj Gibson, right? They had players who were defensively inclined, and not just physically where they could run out on guys and defend and block, but their IQ on the floor was probably one of the best in the league, right? You talk about this Knicks team, and it's to Tom Thibodeau's credit. He's trying to make it work with the guys who are not like mentally. You would never look at these guys and say, oh man, defensively, he will shut you down each and every game. I'm not talking about having 5, but I mean like you are not going to score him because he's so smart on defense. Randall ain't that guy. Mitch Short ain't that guy because the guy fouled out or had 3 fouls by the beginning of the second or third quarter. Had to get taken out in the first. I think it was the beginning of the second half where he got taken out again because he caught a quick third foul. RJ Barrett, no. Reggie Bullock's a good defender, but would you say that, would you put him in a class of Jaylen Brown's? No, in terms of mentally defensively that they're up there now. Same thing with EP, where literally the team does better defensively when he's off the court than when he's on. So we don't – right now, Tom Thibodeau is trying to make it work, and this is what, maybe 20-some games so far? He's trying to turn around with a bunch of guys who a lot of things that may have been taught, like we're talking about right here, maybe they weren't taught in AAU, taught in high school, taught in college, to think defensively, to have awareness. Like you said, EP, to open up. You know what I mean? That's something that you teach in high school. Hey, your defensive stance on a court matters. Peripheral vision, using the baseline. Open up to see, all right, your man's in front of you. So even if I'm not on him, I know where the ball's going to go. I know if it goes, I'm right there, or I know where he's moving. So Tom Thibodeau's trying to make it work with a lot of guys who are not there. So, I mean, it sucks. We have to be patient and look at some of these ugly losses, but damn, it might not even be instruction. You can tell these guys to play zone. You can tell these guys to switch, and you might see the same errors or
the guys have to do it on the floor. So, whatever he's telling them, he's preaching. You hear them saying in post game, like saying terminology and saying things that is coming from the coach, like communication, and our rotations are slow. We got to move on a flight of the basketball, right? Not when the ball is in midair, on halfway to the receiver. But as soon as the ball is let go, that's when we got to start our rotations. You hear guys saying it, they got to do it. Saying it and doing it are two different things. Saying it and recognizing it is the beginning of it, but they've got to do it on the floor. I just hope that I just fear that last night's game really did expose. I'm sure teams have seen how to beat the Knicks, but haven't put it all together. But last night really put it all together. You know what I'm saying? Now, because Tom Thibodeau does have the guys playing hard, hustling, they have a lot of heart. They were able to still hold Chicago 10 points under what they normally score. Right? They scored 106. They normally score about 116 per game. 10 points less, but there were a lot of holes. And Chicago shot well from the field. Right? They shot well from the field, so it's not like they didn't shoot well. So they still held them less. They still held them down, but there's so many holes that a good team can see it and pick it apart. The crazy thing is, against the Clippers made a lot of shots. We went back and we looked at it. The Clippers made a lot of shots, but they were all defended. There weren't guys that were really wide open. A few people were, at times, and that's going to happen in every game. But these guys were making shots over an extended arm. Last night, guys were shooting wide open shots, or the rotation was so late they might as well have been wide open. And I just get afraid that their defense has been exposed and teams are really be like, yep, this is what we can do. We'll see, what Tom Thibodeau decides to do. Go ahead, Kev.
Here's a gripe. Gilmore mentioned his former Tibbs' former players, and Rose, Butler, and Noah. Now, all those guys. Now, Tibbs is supposed to be a person who relies on his vets. Yet and still, when he first got his first coaching gig as a head coach, you had 3 young guys that had to get developed. Why can't he do that here?
Oh, he is.
Yeah, but he's relying. But yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is that he's relying so much on your Elfrid Payton, on your Reggie Bullock, on your the list goes on, where, and I'm going to come to Prince's defense here. Why can't Knox, be part of that?
Because Knox is not earning it, bro. Knox is not earning it. You still have to earn it. I'm sorry, you still have to earn it. You have to earn it. Listen,
Derrick Jones. That's all I gotta say with Knox.
Quickly played 30 minutes last night. Elfrid Payton played 17. He's getting his minutes. Okay? Mitchell Robinson, he didn't play down the stretch. He played 20 minutes last night. I thought he should have been in the game down the stretch. That Thibodeau decided to go with Noel. But for the most part, Mitchell Robinson's been getting 25 to 30 minutes a game. RJ Barrett is obviously getting 38 minutes a game.
But he's the only one. He's like the
Mitch,
only one.
Do you think Mitch is ready to play 38 minutes? I mean, if he's playing 25 to 30 minutes, he's getting a lot of minutes out there. He's playing the young players that can come in and give you production.
I don't know.
I mean, they're playing. All of your young guys is not always going to just be on the floor.
Knox too, but hold on. What is Knox? Okay, I'm sorry, because I know Kevin Wright and that stuff would not. And every time Knox Cole has a good game, what's he doing? Hitting corner threes. If he's not getting the corner threes, he's not doing anything else. When you saw Obi playing that Cleveland Cavaliers game, hold on. When you saw Obi playing that Cleveland Cavaliers game, he only had 5 points, 13 minutes. But you said, oh, this kid might be something, because what he was doing, he was setting constant picks, rolling to the basket, moving off ball. He was a nuisance with that second unit. He only played 13 minutes. Kevin Knox does not do that. But Kevin Knox is every time Mitchell Robinson's down low, right? There are 3 guys around him boxing out trying to get the rebound. I see no one else around him. I don't see Julius Randle. I don't see RJ. Or when it gets to Kevin Knox playing with, and Kevin Knox being there, and I don't see him crashing the boards. I don't see him doing anything else.
Yeah, but I hate to say it, bro. It's a scheme, because again, Obi does that because that's what Obi is told to do. That's the package that.
And where does that come from? Where does that come from? What?
Let me get it off. Next time. But I'm saying, when we say this, I respect what Sim say, because again, like he said. And I'm a firm believer of accountability, because, again, I've seen in these late couple games where Knox is getting to 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, his production has not been there. So when Sim says he has not earned it, he has not earned it on the court. The production has not shown why Tibbs should say, okay, you deserve 10, 15, 20 minutes. Do I personally believe Kevin Knox deserved minutes? Yes. But for some reason, Tom Thibodeau or whatever he's trying to find out with these other guys, he needs to see it without Kevin Knox being there. So, until either Kevin Knox is back in the rotation and we see him play again, I'm going to just leave it alone, because, again, I don't believe it's a condemnation against Kevin Knox.
You gotta echo.
It's all scheme. I believe it's the scheme that they have him playing. For whatever reason, that's what they have him doing, because you don't see random people setting random picks. That's not Tom Thibodeau's offense.
No, but you know where that comes from?
The same methodical basketball that's played. When Obi comes in, Obi is replacing Julius Randle. Obi is doing a small, minute package of what Julius gets. When RJ is in the game, he has a whole total different package than everybody else. So again, I hate to say it, but Knox doesn't have a package. His package is to play defense and hit corner threes. That is it. You don't do nothing else. That's
you just said it. You said his pack. First of all, the package is not him just playing, because if it was defense, Tom Thibodeau probably have him in there. There's a reason why Richie.
No, that's the case.
You forgot one aspect though. Practice. If you're not doing it in practice, if I'm not,
you don't know that. Well, see that this is where people bring up synopsis that they just make up that's coming out their butt. Guillermo, if you're not in practice, if you're not there, you can't tell me what Kevin Knox is doing and ain't doing in practice. But again,
that's very true. But I can tell you one thing: he's not playing with a team that likes defense. He's not playing for a coach who values defense.
Now that's a bigger statement to the scheme. So obviously, for whatever reason, and the same thing like we said last night about Obi. Look at Obi's minutes. Obi's minutes are starting to dwindle too.
Obi's about to be out of that rotation soon, I think.
So again, we can say what we want about Kevin, but I'm pretty sure Kevin's play has been because this is what Tom Thibodeau wants him to do. Now, again, you may have not been doing that right or to the standard that Tom wants you to do it. So this is why you sit. That doesn't mean Knox is going to be traded. Don't mean he don't have a role on this team. But right now, what Tom Thibodeau is trying to get these guys to do, play and execute on the court, he feels like the veterans do it better. Period.
And Kevin Knox, hold up. Well, first of all, Kevin Knox is a veteron, and he's been with 3 coaches who are treating him.
No, he's not here, man. No, he's not, bro. He's going into his second year. His third year. He's going into
yes, he's a veteran. He's been with 3 coaches, and for the
I don't know if that means he's a vet. But
hold on. Now we're changing the definition of veteran now because he's 20-some years old now.
No, I don't know what the definition of a veteran is. I don't know if he can go get the veterans minimum. At 3 years in the league.
Okay. So all I'm trying to say is that Kevin Knox has experience. He's been in the NBA for 3 years. He's been with 3 coaches. One of the coaches actually so-called
this is his third year. He's been in
Marcus Morris over him, right? And
well, I mean, it's been two and a quarter years, but I don't know if I call that a veteran.
If he finishes his third year, this will be his third full year in the NBA. 3 coaches have seen him, and no one's so plus to be, we gotta play Kevin Knox, one of the young kids, blah blah blah. He's not, whether it be in practice, and fair enough, we don't know what's going on in practice, but it's been 3 coaches, and they're not finding value in a guy who's 6'9", who doesn't rebound well, doesn't assist well, defends inconsistently. And the only real offensive value consistent that we can see is from the corner threes, and in the past 3 games, he's not hitting them. So it's like we pick plays that we want to. And look, the same thing, when RJ was doing bad, I was saying the same thing. All right, RJ was not doing bad, he has to do a lot better, but RJ was giving you 6 or 7 rebounds, 3 to 4 assists. He's literally out.
RJ is playing 38 minutes.
RJ's playing 38 minutes. But look. I mean,
doing to warrant all this.
Bottom line, I don't think Kevin Knox has earned himself, to get the minutes, and you don't just give him minutes just because. He played himself, in my opinion, out of the rotation. I still believe in the kid, and I think that he's got to find it within himself to be able to play with the same type of energy that he played with when he was in Tampa, when they were in Tampa playing against Toronto, right? He's got to find it in himself to do it. But Kev, when I say Obi Toppin is probably on his way out the rotation, I think he's probably on the way out, and to me. People are saying, "Oh, that that's like you're saying you said that's a bad thing." On a coach's, speaking as a coach, when I'm out there coaching my basketball team, I'm not putting him in a game and making him play minutes or having him play minutes if he's not doing the things that I want him to do just because he's the 8th pick and he's the prize rookie. I'm sorry, it doesn't happen that way. That is not how you teach. That is not how you teach the guys accountability. It's not. If he's not, look, an hour in the gym of you shooting the ball from half court, you get less, you learn less if you're shooting the ball just all over the place doing anything in the gym. Just because you're in there for an hour doesn't mean you get better. You can take 20 minutes, go to the gym, and get up 150 shots on a move that you want to get better at, and you get better. It's more time does not always equal development. That's my point in saying that. More time playing the game doesn't always equal development, especially if you're playing the game and you continue to do bad habits, right? Then the more you do bad habits while you're playing, the harder it is to break those habits. So when you're not doing the things that the coach wants you to do, you can't play until you do those things correctly. You know what I'm saying? And then when you're doing them correctly, then they put you out there, and you get more and more and more minutes. You know what I'm saying? But if you continue to play someone, even though they continue to miss the rotation, right? You continue to play them, all you're doing is compounding the habit. You're saying it's okay for you to miss that rotation. I'm going to leave you out there anyway. The only time you can do that is if you have nobody, like the players are worse. If you have better players, you got to take them out. You know what I'm saying? Until they get it right. That is how basketball players learn. That's how they learn. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think it's like, you know, I know everyone wants to say, you know, you have a young guy, you're not letting him play. You got to put them, they got to be in, those young guys got to do the things that the coach needs them to do to win the basketball game or whatever it is that the coach needs them to do. You seen Obi Toppin got a quick hook, right? Because he missed 2 defensive assignments. Tom Thibodeau was pissed off, took him out the game, sat it down, didn't put him back in, right? That is a lesson. He's teaching them a lesson. It's the same thing with Kevin Knox. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving you a role, right? If you're not going to do the things that you need to do in your role, then you better be doing something extra, or I'm gonna take you out the game. Now, that second unit, do I think that lineup in that second unit is too ball heavy with dribbling? Yes, I do. I think Austin Rivers needs to come out, and you can either insert Kevin Knox or Frank Ntilikina in that role, because I feel like Austin Rivers is doing too much dribbling, and is really ball heavy with the ball, and you already got Quickly, who is an engine. You don't need Austin Rivers to be an engine too. You know, I feel like that lineup would work better with someone who's not going to be ball dominant. But, you know, that's Tom Thibodeau's call, not mine. You know what I mean? But for the most part,
that's
man,
all I was saying. Like you said, and I know everybody going crazy about Knox, but it's bigger than Knox. It's like we were saying, it speaks to the Obies, it speaks to the Burks, it speaks to all of them, because, I mean, obviously we know Tom Thibodeau loves vets. So my thing is, again, and that's the same thing we started trashing Fizdale about, is again that he started to coddle the vets, but again, you trashed and, you know what I'm saying, and drug the rookies through the mud. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, again, Sam, I'm all about accountability. Definitely, I'm with you. I just, much like we talked, you know, behind the scenes, I hope that we start to see the hook come for, not saying it like that, but for Obi, if he continues to play, you know, not execute in his minutes. Same thing with Burks. Because again, I think that you are starting a bad precedence of, you know, basically the kids are the only ones who get reprimanded for messing up, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Alfred Payton's getting the hook, right? Quickly played 17. Quickly played 30 minutes. Alfred Payton played 17 minutes. I don't think he's opposed. Listen, like I was saying last night when I was talking with Devon and Tony. Your positives got to outweigh the negatives. Basketball is a game of mistakes. It is a game of mistakes. If you shoot 50% from the field, if you shoot 40% from the field, that's considered good in the NBA. If you bring home 47% on a test, you know, you won't be able to sit down that night. You know what I mean? Because your bottom is going to be red. You know, it is a game of mistakes. So you're going to expect a lot of mistakes in a basketball game. The team that makes the less mistakes wins. Players that make the less mistakes stay on the basketball court, because they're all going to make mistakes when they're out there on the floor. You know what I mean? So your positives have got to outweigh your negatives to be on the floor. You know what I'm saying? If your negatives are outweighing your positive, then there's no reason for you to be on the floor until you can fix that. You know? So it's not, you know, it's that's the way the basketball game goes, man. Real quick, before we get to this Westchester Knicks update, some key dates in the NBA that are coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, you guys know about the All-Star, All-Star voting it has started. But we're coming up to some key dates. On February 23rd, 10-day contracts can be signed, right? So guys that are in the G League that are getting ready to go to the bubble, they can start looking forward to say, hey, I might be able to be signed. February 6th, guys that you signed in free agency, they can be traded, right? So expect that chatter to pick up a little bit more. February 27th, standard NBA contracts are guaranteed for the remainder of the season. March 5th through the 10th is the NBA All-Star break. March 11th through the May 16th is the second half of the NBA regular season. March 25th is the NBA trade deadline, so we're about a month and a half away from that. I would expect that the Knicks are going to, by March 2nd, make a decision on where they are and then kind of determine where they're going to go from there. That's what I think will probably happen. May 13th through the 15th is the Class of 2020 Hall of Fame enshrinement. May 18th through the 21st is the play-in tournament. And then May 22nd to July 22nd is the NBA playoffs. And then I guess we'll figure out from there when the draft is going to be and all of that. But those are some important dates coming up. The most important coming up is probably that, guys that you signed in free agency can now be traded. That's probably the most important thing that's coming up right now. But, my man, are you ready to give us that Westchester Knicks update? Let us know what's going on with the Westchester Knicks.
Let's do it, Sam. Right. I know we can't keep people too long, but we're gonna give them a brief little synopsis of what our Westchester Knicks have going on.
All right.
So, hey guys, our 2021 to 2000, or I guess you'd say 2020, since it's last year, 2020, 2021 Westchester Knicks. We will be coached by Derek Alton, assistant coach Alan Deep, and a second assistant Jaron Jackson Jr. A couple key positions to look out for, that obviously the DSJ, Iggy, Jaron Harper, those will be and then Theo Pinson, those will be our Knicks affiliates who'll be going down there to play with those guys. I look forward to seeing Miles Powell. He's a point guard that we drafted this season. James Young, he's a guy that we seen at the end of last year who played overseas. He was drafted by the Celtics. He's a left-handed 6'7", 6'8" wing, so he can shoot the ball. The guys that I'm looking forward to are the centers and forwards. We have Scal Labrizzi and Justin Patton. I believe they're going to bring a great, shot in the arm to our front court, helping out Julius, helping out Mitch. Again, if some of these trades come down the line, we may lose some of those guys, and I think these guys will be perfect addition to come up there and help. The bubble starts February 8th, I believe. Our first game is the 10th against the Fort Wayne, what's their name? Fort Wayne Mad Ants. 3 players I said we got to kind of watch out for that game to be looking at is Cassius Stanley. He was the point guard from Michigan State last year. Some of us was looking into Jalen LeCure. He's another young point guard, like 20 years old. Bounced around in the G League. Didn't go to college, but he would be a great player. Also, player Brian Bowen, who bounced around as a two-way player in the G League and in the NBA last year. Played for Indiana. So this game, again, look forward to seeing what these Westchester Knicks bring us this season. I don't believe there'll be a carbon copy of our Knicks, but I believe that we'll see the same defensive emphasis, sharing the ball, working and playing for each other. So I look forward to seeing what these guys bring, Sim. Like I said, the game that I'm actually very excited about is the 18th. If you guys look at the bottom, that's when we play the G League Ignite. That will be the time we play against all the rookies coming into the league, that are playing in the NBA this year. So the Jalen Greens and all of those guys, that's the first time we'll get a good chance to see them against our players. So again, look forward to seeing these Westchester Knicks. Hopefully with some more information coming out in the next couple of days, we'll be able to provide you guys with more information moving forward. Just look forward to good basketball out these guys. I don't know much about Coach Alston, about his coaching philosophy. I believe this is his first year as our head coach. So I'm pretty sure Tom Thibodeau is going to have a thumbprint on those guys. So we can look forward to good defense. I tell you that much. Don't know what the offense will look like, but I'm pretty dang sure they're going to go down there, especially with Harper, Iggy, and DSJ being in training camp with the varsity And then going down there, I think they'll bring a good environment for veterans to go down there and show the G League how we play in the big league. So look forward to this, Sim. This is going to be great for us, our team building going forward. Last year's team didn't do so well. We ended up 12th in the East with a 12-24 record. Ian Rabb was number 1 in rebounding. He had 12.1 rebounds a game. All of our favorite Kenny Wooten led. Well, he was second in not WNBA, but the G League. Sorry, Kenny Wooten was second in the G League with 3.6 blocks a game. And outside of that, Iggy was a killer last year. So we didn't have too many bright spots last year in G League, but I'm pretty sure that was probably conducing of what went on with the firing and the new change with our front office. So, hey guys, I hope y'all support our Westchester Knicks. Look forward to dropping y'all information all season about our Westchester Knicks, and I appreciate you guys for y'all time.
Yeah, no doubt. Appreciate it, Prince. And we will definitely continue to bring you information about the Westchester Knicks. You know, just stay with us as we, continue to grow that segment, ladies and gentlemen. I want to remind you to get that MBK app on Wix. I'm about to put it in the YouTube chat now. I know I was supposed to do it earlier, and I forgot to do it earlier, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in there now. As soon as I get to 1,000 followers, we're gonna have a giveaway of an Obi Toppin rookie card. Hopefully, Obi Toppin is cooking by then. All right, giveaway. I got 2 Obi Toppin rookie cards to give away. So as soon as we get to 1,000 followers on that Wix app, and I need every one of you, once you get in there, to post something. Post on one of the in one of the forums or whatever it is. Post something in one of the forums and let's get the conversation going. And that's how you enter to win one of the Obi Toppin rookie cards. Become a follower, download the app, become a follower, and post. And your name will be entered into the contest. As soon as we get those 1,000 followers, then we'll go ahead and do it. So let's get to some final thoughts, man, before we head up out of here. And tomorrow I will be doing a game preview. All right, so make sure that you check me out there. C-Mac, I'm still doing the front stoop. It's just I'm not able to stream right now. I'll be back streaming next month, but I still upload information. Yeah, one more month, man. I still upload information and videos stuff to the front stoop, and we'll be back live next month. But anyway, some final thoughts. Prince, you want to start us off with some final thoughts?
Hey man, I just blew up the mic, but hey, I appreciate y'all, MBK fam. Sim gave me that platform. I appreciate him for that. I appreciate all you guys for giving me the love. Greg Castillo, I hope I ain't butchered your name, OG, but I'm gonna try to get Sim to see if we can work on some sponsorship. We trying to get that going right now. The dollars keep the MBK fam and keep the platform moving. So again, if we can get somebody who want to pay to, put my beautiful face up there and support the MBK fam and their products, me and Sim, I'm pretty sure we'll be about it. But hey man, look forward to seeing you brothers tomorrow. I definitely hope that the guys take this one on the chin tonight and they, sit in Chicago eating that nasty pizza and they, come out and they come out with a vengeance and they show us, the type of basketball that we know that they can put up. But hey, man, shout out to chat. I love my MBK fam, man. Let's keep rocking this thing. And you know what I'm saying? I'm going to pass the mic to G.
What happened to the dude that said that we were supposed to bet, right? We were supposed to bet.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If we sweep, he got to eat New York pizza. If they sweat, we got to eat Chicago pizza or something like that.
Right.
Where'd he go? What happened to him? Where you at, bro? You
more.
said you was going to come on the show. You know what I mean? Chicago fan. What happened to you, bro? We missing you. Let me get to this phone call before I get to you, Guillermo. Caller, you live. Oh, I guess he's gone. Never mind. All right, go ahead, Guillermo.
Yeah, man. Like the Prince said, man. First of all, Greg Castillo, don't give him no props, man. That guy's a troll. I'm only joking, but this guy Greg, man. All you guys stupid jokes, but yeah. Salute to you guys, man. Salute to the chat. Salute to MBK, man. The Knicks got to think on this again. Pick and roll, pick and pop, dribble, drive, penetration, defense, reset, and communication. They got to watch the film, getting beat by the Spain pick and roll, something that they've run. Tom Thibodeau has run. I really would love to, if someone could ask Tom Thibodeau if he shows these guys certain concepts and he allows them to kind of develop the mental, not fortitude, mental, intellectual development behind it. And which would be a great way to learn. Hey, I'm gonna give you this fishing rod. You go out and learn how to fish, right? And it's gonna be ugly, but once they get it, obviously. Or if he's trying to teach these guys, but just talent-wise, mentally, they're just not getting it yet, which would be a little bit more of a gloomier thing. But again, I know the lack of wins suck, but guys, just let's pay attention to individual development of certain players. Sim said it with certain guys. Even though I don't think Obi's out of rotation, you guys got a little hate for Obi, man. I
don't think he's out of the rotation, but I think he's moving in that direction.
Yeah, but but see, with Tom Thibodeau, it's almost like, do you teach your kids? I'm not saying for anybody to do this, but do you teach your kids by talking to them, or do you teach them by taking things away from them? Like, hey, if you do this, you're not gonna, or hit them, or beat them, give them a spanking, whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
all the above.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just looking at the trend. I'm just looking at the trend. You know what I'm saying? We've seen it with Kevin Knox. His minutes started going down and down. He started getting a short hook going down and down. Next thing you know, he was out. You're starting to see the same thing with Obi. His minutes are getting shorter and shorter. I think he played 8 minutes last night.
Right, right. But you see him in there. He's been. They have him doing a lot of stuff. So again, I think it's kind of like the school of hard knocks. And again, he's a guy he was playing in the same position as our so-called best player in Julius Randle. I'm gonna say so-called, our best player in Julius Randle. And so again, there's gonna be some time to try to expand his game outside of what Julius Randle does and what may overlap with Julius Randle's game, build up his perimeter offense, playing a little bit more off ball, so he's not in Julius Randle's space in a post. So again, it's going to take time. It's going to be ugly. So that's all I have, man. But suits you guys, man. And also, if you're available, we have the show tonight, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. So definitely going to be hammering home some stuff with Sim, talk more about the game, talk about some rumor stuff, talk about your boy Bradley Beal, who now says he wants to he's hinting he wants to stay with the Wizards. That emotional wreck. So look out for that, man. But
yeah, tonight, 8 p.m.
Yes, sir.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys for being on. Make sure you check us out on Leech and the Knicks podcast tonight at 8 p.m. Go get that MBK app on Wix and enter so you can win a Obi Toppin rookie card. All right, as soon as we get up to 1,000 followers. And I just put the link in the YouTube chat so you can go ahead and get it. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate you all, and we are out of here. Be peaceful, ladies and gentlemen. Spread love. Spread love. Spread love. We're gone.